Welcome to my channel. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. I had just gotten back from my friend's house, feeling that usual post-hangout haze. You know, the one where your mind is still kind of buzzing, but you're ready to just crash? I pulled into my driveway and noticed my mom's car was parked there. That meant she was home, and I was looking forward to kicking back and chilling with her. I grabbed my keys and fumbled a bit as I unlocked the front door. It creaked open, and I stepped inside, letting out a sigh of relief. The house was quiet, but I could hear the faint sound of the TV coming from the living room. I wandered down the hallway, my shoes making soft thuds against the hardwood floor. When I reached the living room, I saw my mom sitting on the couch, just like always. She was slouched comfortably with her feet up on the coffee table, flipping through channels with the remote. She looked up and gave me a warm smile. "Hey, you're back," she said, her voice as soothing as ever. I grinned and headed over to join her on the couch. I slumped down beside her, feeling the familiar comfort of being at home. "Hey, Mom," I said. "How was your day?" We chatted about the usual stuff, how her day had gone, what she'd watched on TV. After that, I was lounging around, not really saying much, and Mom was sitting there next to me, like she always does. She's kind of my rock, you know? Always there, always making sure I'm doing okay. The whole vibe was just super chill, nothing out of the ordinary. We'd been like that for hours, just the two of us. And then it happened. Out of nowhere, I heard it. My mom's voice. Except here's the thing, it was coming from upstairs. "Hey, come up here." I froze. I didn't get it at first. My brain was a little slow, I guess. I turned to my mom, who was sitting right there, next to me, on the couch. She hadn't moved at all. She was just staring at the TV, not even reacting to the sound. It was as if she hadn't heard anything. But I knew what I heard. I definitely heard her calling me from upstairs. The voice was exactly like hers. Same tone, same everything. But how could that be? She was right there beside me. I kind of laughed it off at first. I mean, I didn't want to freak out or anything. Maybe I was just hearing things, right? That made the most sense. Maybe the TV was too loud or I was just getting tired. But then it came again. "Come on, I need you up here." That voice, it was so clear, like she was standing at the top of the stairs waiting for me. It wasn't like a distant echo or anything. It was right there and it sounded impatient. I glanced at my mom again, still sitting beside me. She hadn't moved an inch. At that point, I felt this strange feeling creep over me. You know that moment when you just know something's wrong? It was like a gut punch. My stomach dropped and I didn't really know what to do. I could feel the hair on the back of my neck standing up, and my hands started to shake a little. I looked at my mom, trying to figure out if she was messing with me. Maybe she had some kind of trick up her sleeve, right? I mean, that's gotta be it. But she was sitting there, totally normal, her eyes glued to the TV. "Mom?" I said, trying to sound casual, but my voice came out shaky. "Did you call me?" She finally turned to me, giving me this weird look. "No. Why would I?" I felt my heart skip a beat. I thought I heard you," I said, my voice trailing off. "From upstairs." She shook her head, clearly confused. "I didn't say anything, honey. You must be hearing things." I stared at her, trying to make sense of it. I knew I'd heard her. It wasn't just a trick of my tired mind. The voice had been so clear, I shook my head, trying to laugh it off. "I guess I'm just tired or something. Maybe I imagined it." But then it happened again. "Come up here. I need you." The voice was even more persistent this time. I glanced at my mom, still sitting there, completely unbothered. She was engrossed in whatever was on TV, not giving any indication that she had called me, or that she had even heard anything. The voice was even more insistent this time. My stomach churned with unease. The sound of her voice, so urgent and demanding, didn't sit right with me. I tried to ignore it, but the voice kept calling for me. It then stopped for a minute or two. I was about to sigh with relief when the voice came again. "Come up here, I'm waiting." Without thinking, I turned to my mom and hugged her tightly. I needed to feel her warmth to make sure she was real. At first it was comforting, but then I noticed something weird. Despite me hugging her tightly, she wasn't moving at all. Her body was rigid, unresponsive. I pulled back slightly and looked at her face, but she remained still, her eyes still fixed on the TV. The voice called me again, and this time I felt a sharp, painful ringing in my head. It was like someone was drilling into my skull with a high-pitched sound. The pain was almost unbearable, making it hard to think clearly. Suddenly, I had this intense, irresistible urge to go upstairs and check. I don't know why I felt this way, but it was like something was compelling me to go. I tried to shake it off, but the urge was too strong. I got up from the couch, feeling a little unsteady on my feet, and started walking towards the stairs. My legs felt heavy, and every step was kind of dragging, but I couldn't stop myself from moving forward. It was like something was pulling me toward the stairs, like an invisible rope tugging me along. I stopped at the bottom of the staircase and stared up. The hallway light was on, casting this dim, flickering glow down the steps. For some reason, it looked way longer than usual, like the stairs stretched out into this never-ending darkness. I couldn't see anything up there, but I felt something. It felt like the air was heavier, thicker somehow, and every inch of my body was telling me to turn around, to go back to the couch, to stay close to my real mom, but I didn't. I couldn't. And then, it came again. "Come up here." "I'm waiting." I felt my breath catch in my throat. The voice was sharp this time, more urgent, but still, undeniably, my mom's voice. The same voice I had heard my whole life, telling me to come to dinner or to get my shoes on or to wake up in the morning. But now it sounded wrong. It was off in some way I couldn't explain. Without even thinking, I took a step up, and then another. Each step felt like it was pulling me deeper into something I couldn't escape from. My hands gripped the railing so tight my knuckles went white. I reached the top of the stairs and paused. My heart was pounding so hard in my chest I thought it might explode. I could feel the sweat dripping down my back, but I didn't dare move. I just stood there, staring down the dark hallway, my mom's voice still echoing in my ears. "Come on, don't keep me waiting." But there was nothing there. The hallway was empty. The doors to the bedrooms were all shut, just like we'd left them. No sign of anyone or anything. I wanted to turn around and run back downstairs. I wanted to throw myself back onto the couch and pretend none of this was happening. But I couldn't. Something was pushing me forward, making me walk down that hallway, toward the closed door at the end. I reached for the door handle, my hand trembling. I don't know why I even wanted to open it. There was no reason for me to. I could have just walked away, but I didn't. I twisted the knob and slowly pushed the door open. The room was dark, just like I expected. I flipped the light switch, but nothing happened. Of course, the bulb was out, or the power was just being stupid. Either way, I was standing there in the dark, and the only light was coming from the hallway behind me. That's when I saw it. At first, it was just a shadow, something moving out of the corner of my eye, but then it took shape, and I realized what I was looking at. It was her. My mom was standing at the far end of the room, her back to me. She was just standing there, not moving, not saying anything, just there. Her hair was hanging loose around her shoulders, and her arms were at her sides. She looked exactly like she had been downstairs, but something about her was wrong. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it didn't feel right. "Mom?" I whispered, my voice barely audible. She didn't respond, she didn't move. She just stood there, completely still, like a statue. I took a step forward, and that's when I realized something even more horrifying. She wasn't facing the wall. She wasn't even facing away from me. She was facing me. But her body was twisted unnaturally, like her head was turned all the way around to stare at me, while her body stayed facing the opposite direction. I couldn't breathe. My chest felt tight, like someone was squeezing my lungs. I wanted to scream, but nothing came out. My legs felt like jelly and I couldn't move. I was frozen in place, staring at this thing that looked like my mom, but couldn't be her. And then she spoke. "Come closer." The voice was soft, almost gentle, but it sent shivers down my spine. It wasn't my mom's voice anymore. It sounded like her, but there was something else underneath it, something dark and twisted, like a hidden layer of malice. I took a step back, my heart racing. "Mom?" I tried again, but my voice was shaking. The figure in the room didn't move. It just stood there, its head twisted, watching me. "Come closer," it repeated, more insistent this time. I felt tears prick at my eyes. This couldn't be real. This wasn't happening. My real mom was downstairs. This thing wasn't her. It couldn't be. I turned and ran. I bolted out of the room, down the hallway, and practically threw myself down the stairs. My feet barely touched the steps as I flew back into the living room, my heart hammering in my chest. When I got to the bottom of the stairs, I looked over at the couch, expecting to see my mom still sitting there, watching TV like nothing had happened. But she wasn't there. The living room was empty. Panic surged through me. Where was she? She'd been right here. I'd just seen her. But now, she was gone. I called out, my voice trembling. "Mom, Mom, where are you?" Silence. I searched the whole house, every room, every corner, but she was nowhere to be found. I was alone. And then, from the top of the stairs, I heard her voice again. "Come up here." I stood in the middle of the living room, my heart pounding like a drum. I could still hear that eerie call from the top of the stairs. "Come up here." It echoed through the empty house, sending chills down my body. I dashed through every room, calling out for my mom, but she was nowhere to be found. Panic set in, and I felt my breath come in short, ragged gasps. What was going on? Where could she possibly be? I sprinted back to the front door, my hands shaking as I fumbled with the handle. I was desperate to get out, to escape whatever was making this place so terrifying. But just as I was about to fling the door open, I heard the unmistakable sound of keys jingling and the front door opening. I froze, my mind racing. I was waiting, half expecting to see that twisted figure standing there. But instead, I saw my mom stepping inside, looking surprised to see me standing there, wide-eyed and panicked. "Hey, what's wrong?" she asked, her face showing concern as she noticed my state. I stared at her in disbelief. "Mom, I've been looking for you everywhere. I heard you calling me from upstairs, but you were right here the whole time." She looked at me, her face full of confusion. "What are you talking about? I was just out with your aunt. She came to pick me up. We went to pick up a package. I left a few hours ago." I stared at her dumbfounded. But you were just here. I heard you calling me upstairs too. I saw you." My voice broke, and I struggled to explain the terrifying experience I'd just gone through. That's when I suddenly realized something. The woman I saw in the living room and the one I heard upstairs, they weren't my mom. They were something else entirely. My stomach churned as I thought about it. I took a deep breath and told her everything. The eerie voice, the figure in the living room, the one upstairs. She looked concerned as I recounted the entire ordeal. Her eyes widened as I described the figure upstairs and the strange voice. "That sounds horrible," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I'm so sorry you had to go through that alone." When my dad came home later that night, we all sat down to talk about what happened. My mom and I recounted every detail of the strange encounter, and my dad listened intently, his brow furrowing with worry. "We need to do something," my dad said firmly. "This isn't something we should just ignore." The three of us agreed that we needed to address the situation seriously. We decided to call in a shaman to perform a cleansing of the house the next day. It was clear that whatever I had seen, or thought I had seen, was more than just a figment of my imagination. In the following days, the shaman came to our house. He performed a cleansing ritual, walking through every room and chanting, filling the house with incense smoke. My mom and dad stood by, watching with a mix of hope and apprehension. The shaman assured us that he had driven out any negative spirits or presences. We all felt a sense of relief once the ritual was over, though the experience had left us all shaken. The house felt lighter, and a sense of peace began to return. While I was still a bit shaken by the experience, Having my family by my side and knowing we had taken action made a world of difference. As the days went by, the fear slowly faded, replaced by a renewed sense of security. I was grateful for my family's support and the steps we took to ensure our home was a safe and peaceful place. I hope never to encounter anything like that again. I don't think my poor heart would be able to take it the second time. Thank you for listening to this video. I'll see you in the next one.